I, 28F, got married to Jack, 31M, yesterday, and I'm still trying to process the nightmare that my wedding day turned into. I need to provide some background to help everyone understand how we got here. I met Jack 3 years ago at a charity fundraiser through mutual friends. He worked in marketing and had this natural charm that drew people to him. We started dating after he asked for my number that night, and everything felt perfect. Jack was successful, thoughtful, and seemed to check all the boxes. He made an excellent impression on my family when I introduced him, particularly with my stepsister Abigail, 26F. Abigail became my stepsister when I was 13 after my dad married her mom. Our parents expected us to become best friends, but we were too different. I was focused on academics and later my career in finance, while Abigail was more into creative pursuits like photography and outdoor activities. We were cordial but never really close. There was always this underlying competition between us that our parents either didn't notice or chose to ignore. When Jack entered the picture, he seemed to bridge the gap between Abigail and me. They discovered they shared many common interests, especially photography and hiking. I was actually relieved that Jack got along so well with my family. During family gatherings, they would spend hours discussing camera equipment, lighting techniques, and their favorite hiking trails. I was usually busy with work calls or helping in the kitchen, so I appreciated that Jack had someone to talk to. My stepmom was particularly thrilled about Jack and Abigail's friendship. She would constantly point out how nice it was that Abigail finally had someone who understood her artistic side, often making comments like Abigail never had anyone to share these interests within the family before. Looking back, I should have noticed how these comments subtly highlighted the differences between Abigail and me, but I was too caught up in my own happiness to care. Jack proposed last year during a weekend trip to the mountains. It was perfect. He had planned everything meticulously, hired a photographer, who I later learned was recommended by Abigail, and even had our families waiting at a nearby restaurant to celebrate. Abigail's reaction to our engagement was strange. She congratulated us but seemed distant and left the celebration early, claiming she had a headache. My stepmom explained that Abigail was probably just emotional because she was still single. During the wedding preparations, Abigail became extremely involved. She volunteered to help with everything: cake tasting, venue selection, flower arrangements, you name it. At the time, I was grateful because work was hectic, and I was in line for a promotion. Abigail and Jack spent countless hours together planning various aspects of the wedding. They would send each other Pinterest boards and inspiration photos, discussing every detail. My stepmom praised Abigail's dedication, saying she was being such a supportive sister. The wedding ceremony yesterday started beautifully. Everything was perfect: the weather, the decorations, the music. Abigail looked stunning in her bridesmaid dress, which she and Jack had chosen together, another red flag I missed. During the reception, after my father's touching speech, Jack asked to say a few words. He started normally, thanking everyone for coming and acknowledging how beautiful everything looked. Then he paused, took a deep breath, and everything went to hell. He turned to look directly at Abigail and said, "I can't keep lying to myself or everyone else anymore." The room went completely silent. Jack then proceeded to give what can only be described as a love confession to my stepsister. He talked about how their shared passions had brought them closer, how he looked forward to every family gathering just to see her, and how helping her with photography had made him realize they were kindred spirits. He admitted to falling in love with her over the past year but said he was too cowardly to acknowledge it. Then came the worst part. He said he went through with the wedding because he thought these feelings would fade, but seeing Abigail as my bridesmaid made him realize he couldn't live this lie. I sat there, completely frozen, as my new husband publicly declared his love for my stepsister at our wedding reception. Abigail burst into tears and ran out of the hall, with my stepmom following her. My dad looked murderous, while Jack's parents appeared mortified. The guests were either staring at me with pity or awkwardly looking at their plates. I stood up, calmly announced that the wedding was over, and walked out. I spent the night at my best friend's place, ignoring the barrage of calls and messages from everyone. This morning, I contacted my lawyer about annulment proceedings. What's truly shocking is the reaction from Jack's family. His parents and siblings have been bombarding me with messages saying I'm overreacting. They suggested that since I already paid for the honeymoon, a 2-week trip to Europe that cost me a significant portion of my savings, I should be the bigger person and let Jack and Abigail use it to explore their feelings. His mother even had the audacity to say that Jack's honesty should be appreciated, and that by letting them go on the honeymoon, I would be helping 2 people find their true happiness. My stepmom called this morning with an even more shocking revelation. Apparently, Abigail has had feelings for Jack too, but nobly kept them to herself out of respect for me. She suggested that maybe this was fate's way of putting things right and that I should gracefully step aside. She even mentioned that Abigail and Jack's creative souls were better matched than Jack and my practical nature. I've blocked Jack, his entire family, and Abigail's number. I'm proceeding with the annulment and have cancelled all the honeymoon reservations, losing some deposits in the process, but I don't care. My dad fully supports my decision and is furious with my stepmom's attitude. However, several family members and even some friends are calling me vindictive for not letting them use the honeymoon I paid for. They keep saying I'm being petty and that since the trip is already paid for, I should let love win. I'm standing firm in my decision. I don't understand how anyone could expect me to fund my husband's romantic getaway with my stepsister. Ida? Update 1: The past 2 weeks have been an absolute nightmare, and somehow things have managed to get even worse than my wedding day disaster. After my last post, I discovered several disturbing things that made me realize how deep this betrayal really went. First, let me share what came to light just days after my post. My friend Emma, who works at a local photography studio, finally broke down and confessed something she'd been keeping secret. Apparently, Jack and Abigail had been meeting up for photography sessions throughout our entire engagement. These weren't just casual meetups, they were full-day excursions to various hiking spots and scenic locations. Emma showed me dozens of photos she'd found on the studio's shared cloud storage where Jack had been practicing his photography. The photos made me sick to my stomach. While there wasn't anything explicitly romantic, the way they looked at each other in these pictures said everything. There were shots of them sitting close together reviewing photos on camera screens, laughing over packed lunches, and even one where Jack was teaching Abigail how to position the camera, standing way too close behind her. These sessions had been happening at least twice a month for the past year, and no one thought to tell me. What's even more disturbing is what I found out about our honeymoon planning. Abigail hadn't just been helping plan it, she had practically orchestrated the entire thing. She'd suggested every location, every hotel, and every activity. I discovered she had created a detailed itinerary of photography spots across Europe that she and Jack had picked together. The worst part? She had booked her own solo photography trip to Europe that mysteriously aligned with our honeymoon dates, planning to stay at many of the same hotels we had booked. Jack's family has become increasingly aggressive in their attempts to convince me I'm overreacting. His mother, who I once thought was a sweet woman, sent me a 5-page email comparing Jack and Abigail's love story to some romance movie plot. She wrote about how sometimes people meet the right person at the wrong time, and how Jack's honesty at the wedding should be seen as an act of bravery rather than betrayal. She even had the nerve to suggest that this might be a blessing in disguise, saying I should be grateful that Jack was honest before we had children, and that I could find someone better suited to my career-oriented personality. The situation with my family has deteriorated completely. My stepmom has gone into full romantic fairy tale mode about Jack and Abigail's destined love. She's been posting throwback photos on social media of various family gatherings where Jack and Abigail were together, captioning them with things like "Sometimes love finds its own way, and when you know, you know." She even shared a photo from my wedding day, not of me and Jack, but of the moment Jack was confessing his feelings to Abigail, calling it a brave moment of truth. The annulment process has hit a snag because Jack is contesting it. His lawyer sent a letter suggesting we go to mediation, particularly regarding the honeymoon expenses. According to them, since Jack contributed emotionally to the honeymoon planning, apparently all those secret planning sessions with Abigail count as emotional investment, he should have some say in what happens to the reservations. They're still pushing for Jack and Abigail to be allowed to use the bookings. My dad is furious about all of this, especially my stepmom's behavior. He found out she had known about some of Jack and Abigail's photography sessions but didn't tell anyone because she thought they were harmless and good for Abigail's hobby. She even admitted to helping Abigail research locations for her solo trip that would have overlapped with my honeymoon. I've hired a more aggressive lawyer who specializes in annulments and contested divorces. I've handed over all the evidence of their secret meetings, including the photos Emma provided, the overlapping travel plans, and screenshots of my stepmom's inappropriate social media posts. My lawyer says all of this will strengthen our case for the annulment and help protect my financial interests. Some of our mutual friends have started taking sides. A few have sheepishly admitted they had suspicions about Jack and Abigail's friendship, but didn't want to cause drama before the wedding. Others are suggesting I should be more understanding because you can't help who you fall in love with. I've lost count of how many people have told me that I should be the bigger person and just let them use the honeymoon reservations since they're already paid for. The only silver lining in all of this is that I've discovered who my real friends are. My best friend has been letting me stay at her place, and my work has been understanding about me taking some time off. I'm focusing on gathering all the necessary documentation for the annulment and trying to stay away from social media where people keep tagging me in debates about the situation. I'm standing firm on the annulment and the honeymoon cancellations, despite the pressure from all sides. Some deposits were non-refundable, but I'd rather lose the money than fund their romantic getaway. I've blocked most of Jack's family and have told my stepmom to stop contacting me about this situation. Right now, I'm just trying to process everything and figure out how I missed so many obvious signs. Update 2: The situation has evolved from a nightmare into something I couldn't have imagined even in my worst dreams. Just when I thought things couldn't get more twisted, life proved me wrong. A week after my last update, I discovered through social media that Jack and Abigail had officially started dating. They didn't even wait for the annulment to be finalized. They've been flaunting their relationship everywhere, posting photos from various locations that were meant to be part of my honeymoon itinerary. Abigail has been sharing daily posts about finally being with her soulmate and how some things are worth waiting for. The absolute audacity of these two is mind-boggling. But here's the development that really knocked the wind out of me. Jack proposed to Abigail last week, barely a month after our wedding disaster. He used the same photographer who captured our wedding, who apparently knew about their feelings for each other, to document his proposal to Abigail at a scenic hiking spot. My stepmom proudly shared the news on social media with a long post about true love finding its way and how sometimes you have to go through the wrong path to find the right one. She even tagged me in these posts until my dad forced her to stop. The proposal story gets worse. Jack used the engagement ring his grandmother had given him for me, the same one I returned after the wedding fiasco. When I confronted his mother about this, she defended him, saying the ring was meant for true love and that his grandmother would have wanted it this way. The same grandmother who cried tears of joy at our wedding, by the way. My stepmom has completely lost touch with reality. She's already helping them plan their wedding, and you won't believe this, she suggested using the leftover decorations, flowers, and arrangements from my wedding to save money and reduce waste. She even tried to convince the venue to transfer my deposit to their new wedding date, arguing that it would be poetic since that's where they realized their true feelings. Thankfully, the venue refused and sided with me, returning my deposit out of sympathy for the situation. The most infuriating part is that they're trying to book all the same vendors I had used for my wedding. Several vendors have contacted me asking if I would be okay with them working with Jack and Abigail. Most refused after hearing the full story, but a few agreed to work with them, claiming business is business. Abigail even had the nerve to ask if she could use my wedding dress since it was barely worn. I donated the dress to a charity instead. This whole mess has torn our family apart. My dad finally confronted my stepmom about her behavior after she tried to include Abigail's engagement announcement in our family's annual Christmas card. The fight was explosive. He discovered that my stepmom had known about Jack and Abigail's feelings for each other for months before the wedding. She had been actively encouraging their friendship, believing they were meant to be together but were both too noble to act on their feelings while Jack was with me. The confrontation revealed more betrayals. My stepmom had been helping Abigail plan parallel trips to all the locations on my honeymoon itinerary, even helping her book hotels and tours. She justified this by saying she wanted Abigail to have her own memories at these places in case things worked out differently. She had also been giving Abigail advice on how to stay strong and wait for the right moment during my entire engagement. My dad is now staying with me, and they're separated. He's talking about divorce, saying he can't be with someone who would deliberately hurt their child this way. Some extended family members are trying to mediate, suggesting family therapy or counseling, but my dad and I are both done. The damage is too deep. Jack and Abigail are planning their wedding for next spring. They've been telling everyone that they tried to fight their feelings but that love conquered all. Several of our mutual friends have sided with them, saying that while their timing was bad, you can't deny true love. Some have even suggested I attend their wedding to show I've grown from the experience. I've cut contact with anyone who supports their relationship. The only positive outcome is that my career is thriving. I've thrown myself into work, and my boss has noticed. There's talk of a promotion that would require relocation to our company's branch in another state. I'm seriously considering it. My dad supports the idea, saying we both could use a fresh start away from this mess. The annulment proceedings are still ongoing, but my lawyer is confident we'll succeed, especially given all the new evidence of their pre-existing relationship. I've stopped reading messages from Jack's family or looking at social media. Some people still suggest I should forgive and forget for the sake of family harmony, but I'm done sacrificing my happiness and dignity for others. Update 3: I'm writing this final update to share how everything has concluded and to close this chapter of my life. A lot has happened in the past 3 months, and I finally feel ready to share it all. The annulment was granted last month. My lawyer did an amazing job, using all the evidence we gathered to prove how Jack and Abigail's relationship predated our wedding. The judge was particularly disturbed by the parallel honeymoon bookings and the secret photography sessions. Jack was ordered to reimburse me for his portion of the wedding costs, and all the non-refundable honeymoon deposits. His attempts to claim rights to the honeymoon bookings because of his emotional investment in the planning were thrown out by the judge. My dad's divorce from my stepmom is proceeding quickly. During the divorce proceedings, even more details emerged about her role in Jack and Abigail's relationship. Apparently, she had been orchestrating accidental meetings between them for months before the wedding. She would deliberately invite Abigail over whenever Jack was at our family home, arrange family outings to photography spots they wanted to visit, and even helped Abigail pick out outfits for their photography sessions. What's even more disturbing is that my stepmom kept a group chat with Jack and Abigail where they discussed their feelings for each other. She would counsel them about waiting for the right time and following their hearts. She even helped Abigail book her parallel Europe trip, suggesting hotels with romantic views that just happened to be the same ones Jack and I had booked for our honeymoon. Jack and Abigail's wedding plans hit several snags. After our venue refused to host them, they struggled to find another place willing to take them once their story got around. Most of our original vendors declined to work with them, not wanting to be associated with such a controversial situation. They've had to scale back their plans significantly and are now planning a small destination wedding instead. The fallout in our social circle has been massive. Most of our mutual friends eventually chose sides. I lost some people I thought were close friends, but I'm okay with that now. Those who stuck by me have proven to be true friends. My best friend even organized a renewal party for me, not to renew vows, but to renew my commitment to myself and my happiness. I accepted the promotion at work and am moving to our company's branch in Seattle next month. The relocation package is excellent, and I'm excited about the fresh start. My dad, who finalized his separation from my stepmom, is also moving to Seattle. He found a position at a law firm there and bought a condo near where I'll be living. My stepmom made one last attempt at reconciliation, sending a long email about how she was just trying to help two people in love and how she never meant to hurt me. She suggested we all try family therapy to heal and move forward as a united family. I deleted the email without responding. Some wounds are too deep to heal, and some betrayals too significant to forgive. Jack's family finally stopped contacting me after the annulment was finalized. His mother sent one last message saying she hopes I find someone more compatible with my lifestyle, whatever that means. I heard through mutual friends that she's now fully embracing Abigail as her future daughter-in-law, helping them plan their small wedding. As for me, I'm doing better than I ever expected. The experience has been painful, but it's also made me stronger. I'm focusing on my career, spending time with true friends, and looking forward to my new life in Seattle. Some people still suggest I should forgive them all for the sake of family harmony, but I've learned that sometimes the most peaceful path is the one that leads away from toxic people, even if they're family. This will be my last update. Thank you to everyone who supported me through this journey. It's time for me to close this chapter and start writing a new one, this time with me as the main character of my own story.